The EECV first light glided out of dropout drift, its ring stacks cooling from a T4 jump. Ahead lay the speck of light that had drawn them, an isolated nebular patch barely perceptible in scan filters. At 3.7 light-years from their prior waypoint, the cloud was subtle, but the distortion signature was real. Something was warping space locally. Captain Vance Arrell stood at the forward rail with Chief Engineer Malik Doran beside him. The nebular patch shimmered, gas and dust thin, ambient fields dancing in faint bands. "Whatever's in there," Arrell said, "it's not a planet, doesn't register as a star, and the distortions are off-axis." Malik exhaled. "Possibly a gravitic eddy or residual wake from a collapsed micromass. But it's being held coherent. The gradients are too smooth for random collapse. Someone engineered it or stabilized it." Arrell signaled, "Rhett, bring us in slow. Talon, go to T2 bias until we're inside 0.5 light-years, then switch to T3. Keep oscillation margins high." In the comms bay, Ivy Saren checked background traffic. Silence. But I'm picking up weak echoes, not radio, more like residual signal reflections, unmodulated. Could be structural resonance. First Officer Rhett Colwyn nodded. If the nebula is being shaped, those echoes might be the shape talking back. They eased into the patch. The clouds thickened, starlight dimmed, and visual range dropped. The first light's forward view became a dance of motes and glints. Then a region ahead went dark. No starlight, no nebular glow. A void. Talon called sharply, "Captain, ahead! Something solid!" The void resolved into a curved surface, a giant shell of shimmering field matrix, translucent but structured, with filaments across it like ribs. The first light sensors flagged partial attenuation. Radiation and particle flux passed, but warped and delayed. "Projector shell," Malik muttered. "We're looking at a field lens dome." Arrell authorized a cautious scan. They probed with low-intensity gravimetric pulses. The shell responded, a harmonic reflection at the same frequency, appearing as if the shell were singing back. Ivy leaned in. "It's echoing our probe. It's alive, or engineered to mirror." "Understood," Arrell said. "Dispatch Drone Alpha. Stay at range." Drone Alpha emerged, its scanners feeding back shimmering overlays of field lines, distortions, and mass shadows. The shell's ribbed filaments glowed faintly in response to each scan pulse. On the display, a pattern emerged. The shell was semi-spongy, a lattice of membranes connected by tension lines. In its interior, motes drifted as if suspended, slowly rotating in locked orbit. Some motes glimmered with faint bio-optical flickers. "Biological components," Malik said, "or biohybrid. The field and lattice are layered over living scaffolds." Suddenly, the shell pulsed. The drone's feed flared, then cut to static. Alarms on board the first light popped. Captain Vance grabbed his throat mic. "All power to inertial dampers. Prepare deceleration vector. Get us out if we lose control of drift." The shell's pulse expanded. The lattice ribs contracted rhythmically. The motes surged inward, drawing particles from the nebular medium. The field intensified, warping the ship's whole light. "Drag rising," Talon shouted. "We're hitting emergent gradients." Malik ran to his console. "Override field interference. Try a reverse bias pulse, small countersurge." He keyed a micro-warp flick. The first light shuddered. The lattice rippled. Rhett commanded, "Cut power to non-essentials. Isolate rings." The ship trembled. The shell's filaments glowed white along lines of stress. The motes inside converged, forming a quasi-crystalline cluster that pulsed in resonance. Drone Alpha flickered back online, streaming one image before dying. The motes aligning into a faceted orb, glowing faintly red at the core. Ivy gasped, "It's trying to crystallize mass! It's collapsing its own interior!" Arrell decided, "Focus on escape. Malik, modulate ring phase to break resonance coupling. Talon, full reverse bias at T3 threshold. Rhett, lock pitch so we don't tumble."
With a keening hum, the first light tore backwards, pulses from its ring stacks modulating to shift phase. The shell's resonant field lagged. The lattice quivered. They cleared the shell. The void behind them flickered. The lattice snapped outward in one final pulse, shedding shards and fading into nothing. The nebular cloud resumed its quiet dance. Silence. The crew stared at the view screen. In that hush, Ivy Saren found her hands clenched around the console edge. She replayed the echoes from the shell. They weren't random. They matched harmonic patterns she'd once heard in Earth's deep ocean sonar tests. Her father had called them ghost tones. She believed those would never appear in space. Yet here they were, motifs of resonance, living depths emulated in the dark. Chief Engineer Malik Doran stepped beside her, peering at the bands. "Ivy, are you okay?" "I'm curious," she said. "If the structure can sing back, then our probes were the first word. We invited it by being here." He nodded. "Respect that. But when curiosity risks the ship, we bail first, questions second." "I'll log every spectral residue," she murmured, "but something in me wants to hear its first word." The view screen chimed. Drone Alpha spat a final frame. Where the shell stood, a spiral glyph hung in dust, its lines pulsing twice, and gone. That was a sign, a message. Ivy breathed. Captain Vance Arrell didn't look away. "Prepare a full spectral download," he said. "This just got personal."